upon the altar of her duty, and to make herself the wedded wife of a man who was repugnant to her, and now, on the first opportunity, she had thrown up the contract on a quibble, a point of law as it were. Nature had been so strong for her, as it often is for people with deep feelings. She could not do it, no, not to save Honham from the hammer. When she had promised that she would engage herself to Edward Cossey, she had not been in love with Colonel Quaritch. Now she was, and the difference between the two states was considerable. Still, the fall was a humiliating one to her pride, and what is more, she felt that her father was disappointed in her. Of course, she could not expect him at his age. When looked at through the mist of years, all sentiment appears more or less foolish. To enter into her private feelings, she knew very well that age strips men of those finer sympathies and sensibilities which clothe them in youth, much as the winter frosts and winds strip the delicate foliage from the trees. For to them the music of the world is dead. Love has vanished with the summer dews, and in its place are cutting blasts and snows, and mere memories rustling like fallen leaves about their feet. As we grow old, we are apt to grow away from beauty and what is high and pure. Our hearts harden by contact with the hard world. We examine love and find, or think we find, that it is naught but a variety of lust, friendship, and think it self-interest, religion, and name it superstition. The facts of life alone remain clear and desirable. We know that money means power, and we turn our face to Mammon, and if he smiles upon us, we are content to let our finer visions go where our youth has gone. Quote, "Trailing clouds of glory do we come from God who is our home." Unquote. So says the poet, but alas, the clouds soon melt into the grey air of the world, and so any of us, before our course is finished, forget that they ever were. And yet, which is the shadow of the truth, those dreams and hopes and aspirations of our younger life, or the grimy corruption with which the world cakes our souls? She knew that she could not expect her father to sympathise with her. She knew that, to his judgment, circumstances being the same, and both suitors being equally sound in wind and limb, the choice of one of them should be a matter to be decided by the exterior consideration of wealth and general convenience. For men, and especially old men, who are interested in the matter, putting aside their contempt of sentiment, little understand the preferences of women. Since the world began, women have been an article of commerce, and in their hearts many men look upon them as an article of commerce still, creatures incapable of any real feeling, except of course the natural maternal instinct, and quite ready to accommodate themselves to any master which fate gives them. It is, however, only fair to say that they also sometimes reach that conclusion by study from the life rather than from the inherited tradition. However, Ida had made her choice, made it suddenly, but none the less had made it. It lay between her father's interest and the interest of the family at large, and her own honour as a woman, for the mere empty ceremony of marriage which satisfied the world cannot make dishonour an honourable thing. She had made her choice, and the readers of her history must judge if that choice were right or wrong. After dinner Harold came again as he had promised. The Squire was not in the drawing room when he was shown in. Ida rose to greet him with a sweet and happy smile upon her face, for in the presence of her lover all doubt and troubles vanished like a mist. "I have a bit of good news for you," said he, trying to look as though he were rejoiced to give it. "Edward Cossey has taken a wonderful turn for the better. They say that he will certainly recover." "Oh," she answered, colouring a little, "and now I have a bit of news for you, Colonel Quaritch. My engagement with Mr. Edward Cossey is at an end. I shall not marry him." "Are you sure?" said Harold with a gasp. "Quite sure. I have made up my mind," and she held out her hand as though to seal her words. He took it and kissed it. "Thank God, Ida," he said. "Yes," she answered, "thank God." And at that moment the Squire came in, looking very miserable and depressed, and of course nothing more was said about the matter. CHAPTER 32